Today is Tuesday, November the 10th. It is morning in Los Angeles and it's a morning in America. I am your host, KC Phoenix, and this is my morning political thought. I'm not doing any side news stories today. I'll give you some cliff notes of some things that's going on. But before I do that, thepurpleelephantshow.com main podcasting platform, The Purple Elephant Show on Instagram, on Parler, definitely on Parler, The Purple Elephant Show. Facebook.com/, The Purple Elephant Show, on Twitter at RealTPES. And if you are watching this on BitChute, YouTube, or Daily Motion, don't forget to hit the subscribe button followed by the notification bell. All right, I'll give you some cliff notes. Supreme Court is planning to start listening to oral arguments on the Affordable Care Act today, also known as Obamacare. So that's one thing that's happening today, which I totally forgot about. And I knew it, but I just forgot about it. And it popped up as a notification on my phone right before I started recording. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll go ahead and mention that. So that's happening. As for other things, is what I mentioned yesterday. Everything is in limbo right now. All the lawsuits are happening. Of course, more things are being discovered. More evidence is being presented, which it amazes me that the media keeps saying, oh, well, show us the evidence. That's what they've been doing, is gathering the evidence and presenting the witnesses and people who signed affidavits and making it known about the software issues, which, by the way, there was another software issue that was discovered in Wisconsin. So not only was there a software issue in Michigan, there was a software issue in Wisconsin. Now, and to my understanding, I believe also Georgia. And that's happening. The lawsuits are happening. Lawsuits are already filed yesterday in several states, Pennsylvania being one of the main states. But like I said before, I still feel like President Trump, once it's all said and done, I still don't feel like he needs Pennsylvania, considering that he won all of the other states. I'm going through my head here. Oh yeah, Bill Barr, of course, has now gave the DOJ the okay to start investigating various instances of voter fraud or irregularities, as they call them, but I call it voter fraud. It's fraud. That's what it is. I mean, it's fraud. And he's got the okay on that. People know President Trump fired Department of Defense Secretary Esper yesterday too. He nominated someone right away. I forgot who the guy is. He's the interim Secretary of Defense, but it doesn't matter because we're in a limbo, what I call a limbo period anyway, regardless of not whether President Trump wins or not, which he more than likely will. So that's whatever. Yeah, as for other news, I mean, other little things have been happening, but nothing that I consider newsworthy. What my morning political thought about is I'm trying to talk this through because this has really been on my spirit for a few days now. And I don't know if anybody's seen Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And one of the things that they would do during the process, when they're doing the process of elimination, is they would talk things through. As for me, I usually come to an answer through one of three ways. One category is common sense. I just know. It's obvious. Another category is intuition. I have a feeling. I may not know for sure, but I have a feeling. There's some type of discernment happening. And like with Jared Kushner, I've made it known before. You can go back and check my episodes. I think it was the episode, Dear Tucker Carlson, thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one, because Tucker Carlson also said something about Jared Kushner. But what Tucker Carlson had said, that's not it. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something there. That's my intuition. It goes into that category. And then the third category is premonition. Premonition is where I have a dream and something comes to me and then it comes to pass. Or either something tells me, like what happened to RBG, where I was told a few days before she had died, she was not going to be on the Supreme Court by the time the election got here. Something just randomly told me that. That was one of my premonitions. And sure enough, a few days later, they're like, she's dead. May she rest in peace. So with what's going on right now with this fraud, what's been on my spirit right now is something that I will file in the category of intuition. I can't put my finger on it, but something is there. So I'm talking it out now because maybe some other people are picking up the same vibe that I'm picking up, but they just can't put their finger on it. All right. For the votes that happened, the votes that were rigged, those votes happened in swing states. But also, this software was used in other states. Now, with the software being used in other states, there's more than likely a possibility that other seats were affected. However, Republicans still won. And people could say, well, it was because of the turnout. But the thing is that and like I said, I'm talking this out, if there was major turnout, then they would have had to have voted just for everybody but President Trump. So meaning they voted for all the other Republicans, but they didn't vote for President Trump. And that doesn't make sense because if you're an independent, one would think you would at least vote for Joe Biden and then vote for all the other Republicans. But in some cases, it was either they voted for Joe Biden, they didn't vote for anybody else, or they voted for the Republicans and didn't vote for President Trump. But the one common denominator in all of this across the board, across the country, seems to be President Trump for the fraud that's in question. He was the one that was left out. So this is what has been on my spirit. I remember a long time ago, Lou Dobbs said, Democrats and Republicans are opposite wings of the same bird. And ever since I heard him say that years ago, that really stuck with me. And when the media called the race, mind you, the media has no certification authority whatsoever. All they can say is what they project and things like that. So them calling the race doesn't mean someone is president-elect. It doesn't happen until the election is certified, which the election has not been certified yet, which, by the way, yesterday, there was talk that Real Clear Politics rescinded their call on Pennsylvania, but then somebody else said they never called Pennsylvania for Joe Biden. So Real Clear Politics, which takes an average of all of the polls, which most of them aren't right anyway, as we have seen, and they still have Pennsylvania as a toss-up. So Real Clear Politics at least is acknowledging the election isn't over. RSBN said they're acknowledging Pennsylvania did not go to Joe Biden. And then another news, it was either CNN or someone took Arizona out of the Joe Biden category. But what I'm saying is, when all of this happened, when they tried to bombard us with President-elect Biden, President-elect Biden, President-elect Biden, Republicans were eerily quiet. They just now started showing support for President Trump. And some people say, well, Republicans, they're not really fighters and that's not their thing anyway. They just rather sweep it under the rug and keep going and just go for it later in 2 or 4 more years and deal with it then. This is where my intuition is coming in. I don't know why for the past few days, and I was waiting, just like New York was on my mind back a few days ago, and New York has still been on my, there's something with New York. I don't know why New York is on my mind, but it is, and it's been on my mind. I don't, something with New York. So if something with New York happens in the next month or so, don't be shocked, because New York's been on my mind for some reason. But I digress. With this whole situation, if something stays on my mind, on my spirit for a number of days, and I can't shake it, that intuition keeps saying, I can't put my finger on it, but there's something there. That's what I feel like, and that's what I've been feeling like with this fraud here. And I don't, and this is just speculation, because I don't know. I didn't have a premonition, and I can't put it in the common sense category because there isn't enough evidence for it to be obvious. So this is in the intuition category. Something keeps just digging at me where I feel there was a deal made where the establishment Republic, because George Bush came out in favor of congratulating Joe Biden as soon as the media called it, when George Bush knows good and hell well that the media does not certify elections. But he congratulates Joe Biden. What? So, and I know that the Bushes don't like President Trump because of what President Trump did to Jeb and all that. I get it. But I feel it's deeper than that. Because don't forget, George H.W. Bush was once the head of the CIA. They have connections. So, and I can't put my finger on it, just like with Jared, I can't put my finger on it, but I feel there's something there where there was a deal made between not the whole group of Republicans and Democrats, but maybe certain Republicans and Democrats where they're like, hey, we'll give you some seats and we'll handle this, you handle that, you stand down. But the end game is to get rid of Trump and get him out so he doesn't get a second term. That's what my intuition is telling me. The only reason Republicans, because mind you, Governor Kemp is only in office because of President Trump, and yet Georgia is still having all these issues. So Governor DeSantis got it right in Florida. Florida counted and did what they were supposed to do, but Governor Kemp couldn't keep Georgia in check with all this drama that's happening with the county in, I believe it's Fulton County. Make it make sense. So that's what's been on my mind for the past few days, and I'm just now saying something. My intuition is telling me, and this has been digging at me, my intuition is telling me that I feel like there was a deal made between some Republicans and some Democrats. All right, we'll let you win a few seats and this and that. And then some things were out of their control because so many people came out to vote. It just overrided. It completely overrid the algorithm that was set up within the software to cheat and commit fraud. But in other cases, I feel that wasn't it. And some Republican seats were just, there was horse trading going on behind the scenes, where we'll do this long as we can get Trump out. Because if Biden gets in, obviously, now he's talking about locking down again. That's going to destroy the economy. Now he's talking about the Paris Climate Accord. That's going to destroy the economy. These are things, the EU, I mentioned this yesterday, is talking about putting billions of dollars of tariffs on the US again. That will affect the economy. All of these things, people sticking their hand back in the pocket of the United States. And then also in the meantime, over in the far distance or in the far east, China becomes stronger, which China has paid off a lot of these people in government on all sides. And my intuition, like I said, I haven't had a premonition. And I don't have enough evidence to say common sense that is obvious. But something has been just digging at me for the past few days when it comes to this whole situation. And the only reason Republicans are stepping up now is because President Trump's supporters, everyone has been like, you need to say something. And that's why they're saying something now. If President Trump's supporters were not as vocal as they have been about this obvious fraud, this election fraud, because that's what it is, now that is common sense. This election fraud, then the Republicans would sit quiet and then just be like, yeah, he probably needs to concede. But my intuition, something has been telling me for the past few days, there was a deal struck between both parties. I can't put my finger on it. I don't have any evidence. I haven't had a premonition. Something just keeps digging at me that a deal was struck between the two parties. Because like Lou Dobbs said, Republicans and Democrats are opposite wings of the same bird. And I know I can't be the only one feeling like this. Out of the 71 million people who voted, which hell, probably 75 million people voted for President Trump. If you were to really get down into the nitty gritty of every single vote that was cast for President Trump, we will never truly know how many people voted for President Trump. We'll never truly know. But I believe it was more than 71 million. I believe it was probably 75 million. I really, really do. But things got toyed with, subtracted, divided, whatever. And yeah, 71 million. But I honestly believe a minimum of 75 million voted for President Trump. You can file that in the intuition category too. But yeah, I can't be the only one feeling like this. Anyways, that's my morning political thought. I just wanted to throw it out there. Feel free to send a message on Parler, The Purple Elephant Show, or on Facebook, on the Facebook page, which may not be up that much longer. I'm actually looking to, or on YouTube, I'm actually looking at another platform because I found out about this platform from Steve Bannon. It's called Rumble. They moved over to Rumble. So I'm more than likely going to check that out too. And I may just move the show over there and do that and just be done with Facebook. Obviously, I'll probably still deal with Instagram, even though it's owned by Facebook. But some of these social media companies I'm so over. Twitter is close to on its way. Like I mentioned yesterday, I really wish President Trump would move his official account from Twitter to Parler. And of course, like I said, him and his team would need to work out the details of that with the people of Parler so they can make sure the infrastructure is in place to accommodate the influx of people that are going to come over in addition to the people that are already coming over to Parler, because Parler is the number one app, or I recently checked because it could have changed by now, but it was the number one app downloaded, beating TikTok and other apps. So yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they'll get everything they need to continue doing what they need to do to keep up the good fight and make sure speech stays free. So yeah, that's all I have. I just wanted to throw that out for my morning political thought. ThePurpleElephantShow.com, main podcasting platform. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting the show, who's been liking, who's been subscribing, who's been listening, whether you've been listening in the United States, in Ireland, in Russia, in Canada, wherever you've been listening at. I appreciate any form of support that you've given the show, and I sincerely mean that. Until next time, be blessed.